living in the house of the soul's belonging, where you know without a doubt that you made it home. Living in the house of the soul's belonging, coming back to the holy ground that you've always known. In the kingdom of love, there is no competition, no contradiction, no control. But you can take possession and claim your passion, working on a building that cannot be bought or sold. Living in the house of the soul's belonging, where you know without a doubt that you made it home. Living in the house of the soul's belonging, coming back to the holy ground that you've always known. Step into the feeling, a sweet surrender. Let yourself remember who you are. You can take your own sweet time and ease your troubled mind in the secret sanctuary of the heart. Living in the house of the soul's belonging, where you know without a doubt that you made it home. Yeah, living in the house of the soul's belonging, we're coming back to the holy ground that you've always known. There is room for all the kindness you can hold, and you know you can take it with you everywhere you go. Living in the house of the soul's belonging, where you know without a doubt that you made it home. Yeah, we're living in the house of the soul's belonging. We're coming back to the holy ground that you've always known. We're coming back to the holy ground that you've always known. Coming back to the holy ground that you've always known.
Unmute.
Good morning and welcome to the Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Ruth Hall, President of the Board of Trustees, and I'd like to welcome everyone today to this very special Zoom meeting that is also being presented live on YouTube. We're trying some new technology, it's pretty exciting. So we're doing live on YouTube as well as Zoom. And so if you want to try it out, YouTube is where you're going to go from now on to actually watch our services. And if you hit the subscribe button when you're on our channel, you'll get immediate notification when we start going live. So that's something to think about. Now, how do you get to YouTube? Well, if you haven't already learned how to get to YouTube and find us on YouTube, you can go to our website, which is a wonderful place to find out information, at www.saccsl.org. That's where you're going to go to, where it says about, and you'll scroll down to social media. And this page right here that says subscribe to your YouTube channel, you want to click on that, and it'll take you to our YouTube channel. And you can go to this little space right here where it says live and click on that, and it'll take you right to where we're putting the program on live. You'll be able to see that. You'll be able to watch on live. And this is particularly important when we're live in the community center on the 1st, 3rd, and 5th Sundays of the month. You'll want to watch our service live on YouTube because, oh my goodness, the sound is so much better. The music is so much better to hear when we go live on YouTube instead of using Zoom. So this is something you're going to want to learn to do. It's really easy. You can also get to it on your phone. So, you can be so portable. You can be watching us live on YouTube when you're in Bodega Bay, like Reverend Sharon was last week. So really find out about this. If you need some help, let me know. I'd be happy to show you, especially if you come live on next Sunday to our next Sunday service. I can show you on your phone. I can show you on the computer. I can help you figure it out. And it's going to be so much better, so much easier to hear what's going on when we do live on YouTube. So I'm looking forward to that happening. Now I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce our practitioner of the day. Reverend Debbie Putnam is going to take us deeper and get us started on this beautiful service today. Reverend Debbie?
Thank you, Ruth. Join with me in this moment of blessing, just as every moment is a moment of blessing right here and right now. We know there is one power, one presence, one infinite, ever blessing, ever expanding good. And it is all that is. It is the only truth. It is the only being. It is all that is happening in every moment, right here and right now. And I know right here and right now that I am one with this ever expanding blessing that is the infinite good. I am one with divine goodness. And this is true for each and every person here today, each and every person watching live on YouTube, each and every person watching later, that all of us are one in this one spirit, this one mind, this one divine intelligence. And this divine intelligence is now working beautifully as our presenter, Reverend Patricia, as she tells us today more about who and what we really are, as our hearts and minds, each and every one, are open to exactly what is ours to hear and what is ours to do, as we are ready to take action inwardly and outwardly on what we hear today. That our production team, our board, our active members, each and every one, and all of our loved ones are blessed. Our world is blessed. This truth is happening now, and I give thanks. And so it is. And now for our readings. All are rooted in the one life. Your endeavor then is not so much to find God as it is to realize God's presence and to understand that this presence is always with you. A Holmes Reader on Practical Wisdom. And by Anonymous, freedom without boundaries is like a river without banks. And again from Holmes, nothing can be nearer to you than that which is the very essence of your being. Your outward search culminates in the greatest of all possible discoveries, finding God at the center of your own being. And now for our music, Love by Amy Bishop.
It's voices and laughter. It's the wind in the stillness, in the spaces between. It's a spark of fire. It's a seed, a flower, a butterfly's wing. It's a call and an answer. It's a breath, a stirring. It's the pulse in my veins, oozing as and through me. It's the truth, it's a knowing, it's our only design. It's eternally growing. It's peace, it's power, connects all to one, has no end, no beginning. It's receiving and giving. I release, I let go. Divine shrug in the shoulder.
Isn't she fabulous? Don't you want to just get up and dance around and sing with her? Small commercial. That's what it's like going to convention, the CSL convention, to be surrounded by that incredible energy. The music is so fabulous. So we're going to Charleston, South Carolina in 2024. So put it in your budget, start saving your shekels and join us for CSL convention because Amy Bishop will be there doing music. Whew. So good morning again and welcome. Most of you know that our annual theme is Living Everyday Wonder. And it's been a fabulous journey thus far, exploring that topic. And we explore it this month in the realm of home. So last week, I talked about the hero's journey and how that is one way of looking at the spiritual journey of leaving home in order to find ourselves and then returning home transformed. Today, I want to explore the relationship between freedom and safety and how that dynamic tension sets us up for what I believe is one of the most important decisions that we will make. And it is a paradox, a dynamic tension, because having a sense of rootedness, a sense of belonging and reliable boundaries is what empowers us to fly, to fully and freely be our best selves. It's Roots and Wings, which is the title of this talk. If you watch how a well-attached and healthy toddler explores a new environment, they're going to come into it holding on to their trusted adult's leg or hand, and then they'll let go and kind of go forth and explore, and then they'll come back and they'll hold on again. And they're going to repeat this. And every time they go a little farther, then they'll come back until all they have to do is turn their head and double check that they can see their trusted adult. And then they'll go back and continue their play. And I think this is a great example of what journalist and author Harding Carter meant when he wrote, "The only two lasting bequests that we can hope to give our children, roots and wings." Note that my example was of a healthy, well-attached child, meaning they grew up in a home where they met a home that met their basic needs, physical and emotional safety and security delivered in a loving environment. Most of us were not raised in either a perfect environment or in one that was totally lacking in these basics. Most of us were raised by human beings who did the best they knew how, based on how they were raised by folks who did the best they knew, and so on and so on. So for some of us, sometimes our needs were met and sometimes they weren't. My mom used to say that the best she could hope for was to do better than her parents. And she did. I know her parents. I knew my grandparents. She did better than they did. And hopefully Doug and I did better raising our daughter. And we think we did. When our needs are met, we grow roots that provide us with connection and strength and build a foundation so that we can safely reach out and test our wings, learning eventually to fly. We gain independence and we embark on our hero's journey of discovery. I love how Sally Clarkson describes this in her book, The Life-Giving Home. She says, all people need a place where their roots can grow deep and they always feel like they belong and have a loving refuge. And all people need a place that gives wings to their dreams, nurturing possibilities of who they might become. Now, child development specialists focused on the peak time for creating strong roots and developing wings, and the emphasis is always on early childhood and the parents. But again, we do not all have that experience or enough of it. So if we didn't get enough in our family of origin, is that a lost opportunity? Is it a situation of, well, you missed out on it at age 2 or 4 or 14, then you're just out of luck? No, not at all. Everyone that I know, upon leaving their family of origin, began to form a family of choice. We innately know that we deserve and need roots that connect us and support for us to spread our wings. And so we look to build that into our life through our choice of friends, mentors, allies, teachers, and guides. We find these people in the flesh and in books, fiction and nonfiction. We find them in classrooms, at work with our peers and managers, or just as we observe the world. Some of these folks stay in our lives. Some we either outgrow or the relationship becomes complete in some way, and then we kind of just drift apart. And some people just briefly visit. It's that one interaction that makes a difference. I had a woman at work once at a very difficult time for me. So I was just kind of leaking anger at all kinds of ways. And it was not successful. And we met in a hallway and she said, "Patricia, you know, I am really angry with you." And she delivered it in just about that tone of voice. And I looked at her and said, "What?" I'd never heard anyone express anger calmly and gently. Just, "I'm really angry with you." And then she went on to explain what it was that I had done that had upset her. But she never raised her voice. She never got upset. It was a life-changing moment. And I only worked with her for, I don't know, maybe a year. I don't even remember her name. But that one interaction made her part of my family of choice, teaching me and giving me something that I didn't receive in my family of origin. So this can happen, this rebuilding and rehealing is not the right word, but this healing of the original family can happen at any time and in any number of ways. It's been said that the goal of the first half of life is to learn how to be human, how to develop an ego that can survive and flourish as a human being living amongst other human beings. And this is a task that goes far beyond just growing up. Again, everyone I know has had to do some backfilling and remedial work on what they received and learned in their family of origin. And for the most part, we keep dipping back into that work during the second half of our lives. Given we started this month with an exploration of the hero's journey, I've been thinking about the second half of life is what happens after we return home. And I don't mean physically. I mean, when we have moved out into the world on our own or with a beloved partner and have moved into the great discovery of who we really are. Or as one of my favorite songwriters describes it, when I discover who I came here to be. So then comes, I think, the developmental period of becoming the person that I came here to be, growing into that person. And I think we essentially become like toddlers again, needing that place we are rooted and connected so that we can fly out and become more. And we're going to occasionally crash and fall and fail. And we will need to retreat back to our place of refuge. I talked several weeks ago about how we can fail forward and thereby gain strength and knowledge and keep growing into our greatness. And we do that in part by having a refuge, a community that encourages us, to paraphrase Sally Clarkson, to give wings to our dreams, a family of choice that nurtures possibilities of who we might still become. And that's a lot of what we do here as a community at Sacramento CSL, is be part of your family of choice, to be a refuge and a support for your wings, to encourage you to grow and become what you came here to be, not what anybody else thinks that you should or should not be doing, but what you choose to do as your life. So we need a connection with people. But more than this, we need a connection that is not dependent on other human beings or our accomplishments in the world of form, because everything in the world of form is subject to change. This is the good news and the bad news. We can change or adjust any condition or situation or relationship in our life. We can build a family of choice to repair damage done by our family of origin. And whatever we build in this world will continue to evolve and change. It will never be static. So in addition to the refuge we build for ourselves in the world, we also need to discover a connection that is eternal and unchanging. And the good news is that this is a process of discovery and a revealing of what has always been there, and not a need to create something. There's a wonderful quote from a 1998 Science of Mind magazine that I think is the bridge from the metaphor of the toddler to the reality of an adult on the spiritual journey of discovery and revelation. At least it seems that way to me, so I'm going to share it. And it said, all of our reactions to life are related to our spiritual convictions. We cannot escape this. Just as a child needs to have confidence in his parents, so we all need the same confidence in the power that is greater than we are. A child builds its trust in the world based on the most wonderful and fallible of life's creatures, a human being. As an adult, we get to discover that from the very beginning, we had a connection within us to something that never changes, that can always be trusted. It's an infallible and ever-present presence that has always been present. It is a love that is eternal and endless. Think about Amy Bishop's song. It's everywhere. It's an energy of life and light that incarnated, that came into form as the natural world and the galactic universe that we're living in, that the Webb telescope is showing us such fabulous pictures of. And this presence, this life, came into form as each one of us. Now, this presence demands nothing from us. We don't have any tests to pass to be worthy of its love and attention and support. We can be our true selves. Let me say this in first person. I am a work in progress that is authentic, imperfect, growing, and I am always loved and supported into discovering more of who I am and to achieve my highest good, because I am rooted and grounded in my inherent divinity. And I know this is true for me. And so I know this is true for you, because you have the same divine center and source inside you, waiting to be known and claimed. Now, the law of this divine nature is to be whatever we believe. As Jesus said, as you believe, so it is done unto you. Actually, it's done through us and as us, because that all-giving source of love is who we are, and it acts through us. We are free to discover and make use of this power of good, this loving presence. Or we can put our faith in the changeable things of the world. We can be rooted in the temporary and changeable world of form, or we can be grounded and rooted in the unchanging love that is everywhere present. Now, earlier in this talk, I mentioned that I would address what I believe to be the most important decision we make. And that decision is whether we build our life and our sense of who we are based on the outer world, which is always a reflection of our own beliefs and changeable as our beliefs change, as forms and structures change. Or do we build on the eternal truth that the mystics of every known religion agree upon, that the source and center of all life is a love so great that we call it divine. Divine meaning something beyond and greater than human capacity. Imagine knowing divine love as your foundation, your touchstone. Like the toddler looks back to the adult as a touchstone, we can look back, look inside to our touchstone. And it provides us with the freedom to venture out and be our authentic self, knowing that we have a home in divine love and that it is always a safe place to land. It just doesn't get any better than that. 2 final points. Much is said about boundaries. And much is written these days about boundaries and identity and establishing healthy boundaries. Now, Brene Brown's books are fabulous resources for this. In simple language, boundaries are our personal rules and values that define us as who we are as a person. We see life from the perspective of those internal rules and values. And so what we believe is reflected in our lives. Or as the subtitle on one popular book on boundaries reads, boundaries are about how I treat you, how I let you treat me, and how I treat myself. If we build our life, our sense of who we are, on only what we learn from our family of origin, or messages from social media about how we should live our lives and what we should value, our boundaries are likely to be rigid rules to try and keep us safe in a constantly changing environment. Or they're going to be so flexible as to be non-existent. Building a sense of self, building my identity on the eternal truth of love and its power and intelligence that created all that exists is the finest foundation upon which to build and manage boundaries. It really does all rest on the decision of where I place my identity. Who am I? If I am grounded and rooted in spirit, then I can be clear about what is my personal space, and I can recognize what is your personal space. I can be clear about how I will treat you and how I expect to be treated. I can assess whether my boundaries need to be adjusted or whether I maybe need to maintain more space between you and me based on your behavior or my behavior. I can flourish and grow in my way, and I can respect how you choose to learn and grow in your way. We can respect how each of us chooses to fly, to keep with that roots and wings metaphor. And finally, to end, I found this quote that I want to share. For me, it communicates the essence of the paradox of having and needing both roots and wings. And it's not an either or, it's a both and. We need roots and we need wings. Rings of power. Get a little hobbity on you here. But we need roots and wings in the same way that we need a family of choice on the outside to nurture that human part of us. And we need grounding in the eternal verity, in the divine love that we are. So the quote comes from E.Y. Harburg, who was a songwriter. He wrote the lyrics to all of the songs in The Wizard of Oz and one of my very favorite musicals, Finian's Rainbow. He wrote April in Paris, as well as that jazz standard, That Old Devil Moon. So you all know his songs, if you don't know his name. But he said, my heart wants roots. My mind wants wings. I cannot bear their bickerings. Isn't that lovely? We can't separate roots and wings. We can't separate the outer home and the inner home. They are of the same. So my hope for you today is that you find your way through the bickering to know and value your roots, and that you find the joy of discovering your wings and flying, knowing that you always have a home to return to between your flights. So join with me now in prayer. It is the best of news that there is a singular, unchangeable, eternal presence that only knows love, because that's what it is. It is the life-giving, life-supporting source of creation. It is what is moving through the world of form, as me, as you, as the world. I am rooted in that one presence. We all are rooted in that one presence. We are correlated in that one before time and space. And so we come into this life. I come into this life with this connection, complete, inviolate. Nothing can change this connection. And it is there for me to discover. Just as the child discovers the wonders of grass and flowers and sunshine and puppies, all the wonderful things our world has to offer, I get to discover the delight of knowing and recognizing love in everything that has ever been created or ever will be created. This world is love made manifest. I am love made manifest in a world made of love. And I ground myself in that. I connect with that. I feel the truth of that move from my toes to the tips of my head, top of my head. It's all love. It's what I see, it's what I hear, it's what I know. And because of that grounding, I have clean, healthy boundaries, and I move into the world with ease and grace. And every cell of my body sings the song of health and vitality and wholeness. And all of my relationships flow in this divine fountain of love. And abundance is my birthright because I am in the flow of love. that I can trust. And so I become fully who I came here to be, a unique, one-of-a-kind blessing to the world. And for all this and more, I give great thanks. And so it is. And to add a little bit to this, we now have the poetry of our resident poet, Doug VanWoerkom.
Good morning, everyone. This is a poem I wrote a couple years ago. It's called, getting an echo here. It's called, There is Always a New Way. Embracing a new idea is like starting out on a new path through the forest. When setting out, we may stumble over uneven ground, but the more time we walk there, the easier it becomes. When we choose to be goodness walking in the world, we become path makers so heaven and earth can meet. Remember, no matter where we've been or how long we've been there, a healthy new journey is only one step away. A wise woman once said, "Hold your understanding of truth loosely so it can grow." Don't accept a God that's only as big as you can believe. Blindness doesn't just live in the eyes. Discover the difference between trained and untrained thought. Clean the windows of your mind so the light shines in and out. Let your God always be greater than you can ever fully imagine. It's true, on some days I stumble and forget the Holy One. It's when I'm so far from home that I'm glad the body remembers ritual. It's true, on some days I stumble and flat forget the Holy One. It's when I'm so far from home that I'm glad the body remembers ritual. A healthy spiritual practice feeds us every day, always calls us home. Never fear to bring a partial offering to the altar of your life. Start right where you are with all the knowing you have now. Bring it with your whole heart. A spiritual path that doesn't lead to freedom in this lifetime is not worth following anywhere. There is an old Native American story that tells of two wolves inside of us. One is love, the other hate. The one we feed is the one that lives. Hear this. No one stays in hell unless we choose to be there. Self-compassion is not for the faint of heart. Cast off all old beliefs held in this or any lifetime that threaten the opening of your heart now. Agree to let the walls come down again and again and again. Learn to feed the right wolf. Friends, do not dishonor the struggles and suffering you've known in your life. If you feel worthless now, it only means you haven't yet found your gold. Know you are valuable, even before you were born, and you always will be. Step into the mystery. Join the divine dance. Discover your true knowing. Listen to that still, small voice within that always whispers, never give up.
Thank you, Reverend Patricia, and thank you, Doug. That was wonderful. Lots to think about. And as we're thinking, it is our offering time, and we are offering you an opportunity to give. This is an opportunity for you to take up or expand your practice of giving, the spiritual practice, giving out of gratitude and in support of an activity that provides you with spiritual support and nourishment is a way to pay it forward. It is a gift to yourself and to our community so that we can continue to witness and share your spiritual journey and provide the same for others as we grow our spiritual community. We have multiple ways to give. You can go on the website and pay through PayPal or a credit card or Square, I believe, on saccsl.org. You can mail us a personal check. And when we're in person, you can also donate that money the old-fashioned way in the basket with cash or a check in person. We welcome your offerings. Thank you. And here's our abundance affirmation. Join with me in saying this on mute and feel it in your heart and in your mind. This is a gift to you. Abiding by the law of circulation and in heartfelt gratitude, I affirm that I live in a creative and abundant universe that continuously flows in, through, and out as me, expressing as the ever-expanding infinite good. And so it is. We welcome your prayer requests, and you can request prayer by going on saccsl.org. There is a button for you to put in your prayer request that gets shared with our prayer team, our ecclesiastical team, and we pray on your prayer requests for a week. It's very powerful. And now for our latest news. First, we are both in person and on Zoom online on YouTube Live on the 1st, 3rd, and 5th Sundays of the month. So next Sunday, again, we will be in person and also on YouTube Live and also on Zoom. And then on the 2nd and 4th Sundays, like today, we are online only. We have Busy Hands, Warm Hearts hosted by Reverend Patricia at her house on the 2nd and 4th Mondays of the month. So get a hold of Reverend Patricia, show up. I hear that it is wonderful, a wonderful time to connect with the community. We are having our big auction to benefit the Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living on November 20th. So that's next weekend in person after Sunday service. Please contribute. Please come ready to get things that will bless your life. And we are also having a Friendsgiving at that time. So I believe Corey is coordinating food so that you can bring a dish that represents your family tradition or just one that you want to make, maybe want to add to your tradition for our Friendsgiving. And we are also having the local, is there a next slide? Thank you. We have invited the Sacramento LGBT Community Center members. I'm not sure
Youth.
members is the right word.
Youth.
In any case, yeah, Youth, yes.
Youth they serve.
The youth that they serve. Thank you. So we've been working with them. Our team has been working with them so that they can come to our Friendsgiving and have a place. So these are the unhomed. And this would give them a place where they can feel safe, feel welcome, and eat. Eating is always nice with us next weekend. So when youth come, please make them feel welcome and know that all of this is happening next Sunday after service. And we look forward to all hanging out and having our community gathering. There's an outreach committee meeting today at 12:30 p.m. on this same Zoom channel. And one more thing I want to mention before we go to our affirmation here. I received this email yesterday night, so there hasn't been time to make a slide for it. The University of California, Berkeley, there's a professor there, a couple of professors who are doing a joy project. And I signed up yesterday. It's a very low commitment, and they're doing it worldwide to see how small practices increase the joy in people's lives over a short period of time. I can send you that link. They're kicking it off right now, starting today, with a joy movie. And it says the 48-hour community watch party is live, meaning you can watch it anytime in the next just over a day, 1 day and 21 hours. And it is at www.globaljoysummit.org. So again, that's globaljoysummit.org. And you can always reach out to me privately for those links. It looks like a wonderful thing to do. And now for our affirmation, our blessing, our gift to you for the week. My home brings out the best in me and others. Now we are going to have our music followed by our benediction, our closing song.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And in this space of oneness, I know for each and every one of us that we are in the space called home. This is the home of belonging, of community, and it is the home of beingness, of the infinite connection to the divine presence that is all that is, of this infinite expanding, growing knowing that within me, within each and every one of us, within each and every heart and mind and soul is the divine. And that divine is awake within me now. That divine is awake within each and every one of us right here and right now, allowing us to spread our wings from the security of who and what we are, allowing us to give to each other and to the world in ways above and beyond anything we have known before. This good is our good. I claim it now. We claim it now. I know it for all of us. I know it for the Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living. And in this knowing, I give thanks for answered prayer. I give thanks and release this word into the law that is all powerful and says yes and makes it so it is done right here and right now. And so it is. Please stay for fellowship.